News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And a nice quiet morning out there, at least so far, right?
Yes, finally it's a bit quiet to start, and it's going to be quiet for much of the day, but we're keeping our eye on this evening for the potential for ice to accumulate. We'll take a look at that here momentarily, but for now, as you're heading outside, here is a look at those temperatures. We are hovering in the 20s at Rome, 21 Johnstown, 30 in Hamilton, 19 up in Watertown. And this is a scenario that we're looking at today. Now, you notice down south, it's already 35 in Dansville, 31 Ithaca. With this southerly wind that's going to be ushering in some of these warmer temperatures, one spot that's going to be difficult to climb above freezing due to what's called cold air damming is going to be the Mohawk Valley. You can see still at 21 degrees in Johnstown, far from 35 out west. So what we're going to be watching today is how long these temperatures remain below freezing. If that cold air is thin enough and we start to see that rain move in, that could produce the potential for freezing rain. We'll dive into that here momentarily, but for now, again, a live look at downtown Utica. Pretty quiet conditions out there early today. Obviously, some side roads are going to be snow covered, so budget a little bit extra time if you're not on any of those main roads early today. But again, we have an alert mode set in place for this evening through tonight, and then some lingering snow showers expected as we head into early Wednesday. So again, today's highs will be climbing into the 30s depending on location. We have that ice forecast, all-important forecast for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Today marks 5 years since the...
Welcome back. Time now is 5:11 on your Tuesday morning, and here's a look at what you can expect as you're heading out the door in just a minute in your forecast. In a minute, first off, we take a look at the current conditions outside right now, sitting at a somewhat seasonable 24 degrees. Not very cold out, but still, I guess you want to grab that winter jacket. Either way, a slight southeast wind bringing those feels-like temperatures down to 18 degrees. So, but overall, not too bad of a morning out there today. Roadways generally clear, at least the main roads. Some side roads or back roads will have some snow on them, just an FYI, but following that, again, your rest of your morning commute will be generally okay. Yorkville Battery Live radar showing dry weather here locally, but as you can see to our west, we are starting to see the arrival of that warm front that'll bring in the travel concerns this evening. Notice here, this is the time frame. This morning it's quiet, this afternoon it's also looking dry, but of course that system approach is bringing that freezing rain potential this evening, but that warmer air will erode it, switching over to at least rain in lower elevations and wet snow in the hilltops as we head into the overnights, at least hilltops being in the Adirondacks. But either way, lingering snow early Wednesday morning. Time frame of this, again, taking place roughly starting between 3 and 5 p.m. today. So either way, we're going to dive into this forecast regarding ice and everything you need to know coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Last week, we were reporting record numbers for flu cases statewide.
Storm Tracker 2 team, where we track storms. The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. I would say that this has definitely been a snowy winter. I think a lot of you will agree on that one. Just how snowy has it been? Well, let's go back to Thanksgiving, and shout out to Bill Cardis for this research last night. Since Thanksgiving, only 2 days are reported in Rome without any snowfall, at least measurable snow across parts of the area. So 38 out of 40 days have been snowy. So this is one of those scenarios where we just have been bombarded by consistent snow, whether it be from clippers, from lake effect, or just from any other type of scenario. Snow has been a pretty common sight. Now, the radar right now showing a lack of snow, but it's not entirely quiet today. We're tracking a warm front to our southwest. That'll be providing us with eventually rainfall, but beforehand, some freezing rain potential. Here's a snapshot of the system as it moves its way north and east. This is around 6:30 this evening, and notice a lot of that pink there. That's that cold air trapped near the surface that produces that freezing rain. In fact, we dive into the skycast here. We can see that pink area mainly impacting the Mohawk Valley, extending into the foothills of the Adirondacks, and then eventually switching over to wet snow in those hilltop areas in Hamilton County. For the rest of us, it will eventually switch over to all rain, but by 6 a.m. tomorrow, the backside of this front moves in. That cold front arrives. We're going to track some scattered snow showers again, so it's not entirely dry just yet. It's going to be quite a while. I feel like we're going to be seeing, well, maybe not quite a while. Later on this week, an opportunity for a dry day, but then we're looking at more rain, even some snow chances toward the end of the weekend. So when it comes to freezing rain, as a reminder on how this forms here, as I mentioned previously, you've got that cold air trapped near the surface and that warm front, which looks like this, moving its way in. You get that very small layer of cold air near the ground, and it will produce the potential for freezing rain. So which spots are most likely today? Well, mainly in the Mohawk Valley and the foothills, the Adirondacks here, and then eventually some spotty freezing rain in some of those higher elevations. This was a similar scenario to what we saw with that previous ice event. I don't think it's as powerful, but still, I think a lot of the data that we're looking at right now is underselling the potential of this ice. It's one of those scenarios where you kind of have to go out on a limb with the fact of how difficult it is to forecast ice. Either way, it's better to be cautious than not cautious. That's why I made an alert day today for that potential tricky travel this evening in the Mohawk Valley. Lingering snow showers early tomorrow, drying out, as I mentioned, a couple of dry days here and there on Thursday. Then widespread rain on Friday, looking to be all rain, and then some cooler temperatures to follow. But we have a thaw on the way. We just got to get through this first.
Yeah, keep an eye on tonight.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:22. Still ahead on Sunrise. Taking a look at your top stories this morning, a fight, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. If you're getting the kids ready to head to the bus stop, Eric, some good news. At least it's dry this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Pretty quiet. Should have no issues heading outside today. Let's take a look at the current conditions, though. I still would grab a jacket. I don't think it's need to be a heavy one. We're in the 20s and 30s across the area. And yes, as Gary mentioned, looking pretty dry out there. A live look at downtown Utica right now. Main roads are relatively clear. Just a few side roads are snow covered. So maybe budget a little bit extra time if you don't have those snow tires on, or either way, just budget extra time regardless. But the road conditions will continue to improve throughout the day with the lack of rain or snow for the time being. However, freezing rain is possible as we head into this evening. This will be probably closer to 3 to 5, maybe 4 to 5 p.m. today, at least the start time of this. And on top of that, the main areas will be north and east of Utica that will be seeing the most impacts from this ice system here. So when it comes to ice potential, we're going to have a look at the ice forecast coming up in a few minutes, plus the inevitable warm-up on the way, January thaw. We're tracking that straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. The Trump administration...
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise, everybody. Now, I will say this, when it comes to our photo segment, I get surprised, well, maybe I shouldn't be, at just the amount of fantastic photographers around the area that are able to set the scene of a beautiful winter picture here. This one is an amazing photo sent in to us by what appears to be, looks like I have my segment off. 1 second here. Technical difficulties as I always turn this system off here. But I want to show you guys this photo because it's absolutely amazing. This is one in Brookfield of an amazing winter scene here. And this one on top of it has a beautiful lamp that kind of illustrates the beauty of winter. Here we are. This is a Gateway to Narnia sent in by Jody in Brookfield. An amazing winter shot right here. And if you have one like this you'd like to showcase, including one where maybe you have a nice lantern there, bringing a bit of a contrast to the beautiful hues of blues and whites there, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Your photo of the day every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Gary?
All right, Jody.
Great photo there.
Yeah, thank you. Comets fans, get ready.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now is 5:49, and for the first time in quite a while, we're not looking at a whole lot of snow today. In fact, quite the opposite. Some rainfall and some freezing rain potential, but still, it has been quite a snowy stretch. How long of a snowy stretch? Well, the last 38 of the 40 days here locally have experienced at least some form of snow in parts of central New York. Only 2 days since Thanksgiving have been completely without snowfall. So if you're wondering just when was the last time we've had a lack of snow, well, that's the answer there, and no doubt about it, it has been a relentless onslaught of snow, which for some of you is great news, especially those of you who love winter sports, and especially those of you in the touristy areas here in central New York that rely on tourism, winter tourism, and this has been extremely beneficial for you guys. Either way, a live look at the radar. Things are quiet right now. To our west, we're seeing the approaching system producing at least some flurries and eventually some freezing rain in the backside of the system here. So we look at the bigger picture. What we have here is a large area of low pressure. Basically, we have warm air colliding with colder air near the surface. And I want to show you guys basically what that means. You have this cold air that gets trapped mainly in the valley locations in the Mohawk Valley to what's called cold air damming. And then you have that warm front, which looks like this in the atmosphere, that warm air aloft, that cold air below, and it freezes on contact. And so when it comes to the arrival of this system today, notice here, we've got some pinks starting to form in the Mohawk Valley. That's freezing rain here. And that'll continue between roughly 3 and 5 p.m. this afternoon. Switching over to rainfall. Eventually the warm air will win out, but it's not going to win out for long because a trailing cold front moves through and that rain will switch back over to wet snow as we head into Wednesday afternoon. Following that, it will be drying up as we head toward Wednesday evening, and then Thursday is looking mostly quiet. So, your ice forecast here, before we get to that 7-day, we have freezing rain likely here in the Mohawk Valley. Some darker pinks there. That's the zone. I'll step out of the way so you can see it here. And then the light pinks, freezing rain is possible. Rain is most likely in these outlying areas here. So, again, this is mainly a Mohawk Valley and foothills of the Adirondacks type issue here. That we'll slowly watch throughout the day today. So again, it's an alert day this evening through tonight, and then it's lingering snow Wednesday, it's dry Thursday, and then we have a thaw on the way Friday and Saturday, highs in the 40s. It's going to be producing maybe some grassy spots, the first time in quite a while since it's been so snowy.
Yeah, plain rain may melt a lot of that snow. Eric, thanks. Well, soon the Utica Fire Department will have
News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And some ice on the way, but not till later, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's more of an evening problem today, at least in the early half of the morning and afternoon, is looking pretty quiet.
That's good.
So, yeah, great news.
Yeah.
We're heading out this morning and look at the current conditions outside. As I showed previously, we are in the 20s and 30s. Not too bad temperature-wise out there today and condition-wise. Yes, you might have some snow-covered side roads. Main roads are treated and plowed, and overall should have no major issues heading to work today. A live look at downtown Utica, same story here. Very clear roadways early this morning, and this is a bit of a lull in the activity until we head into this evening, which will be an alert evening, if you want to call it that. Alert day, alert night. Either way, we're going to be in alert mode, and the basics of this is that freezing rain is going to be moving in primarily north and east of Utica. And what to watch out for are some slick and slippery spots on untreated surfaces, parking lots, driveways, sidewalks. Because the freezing rain arrives before the majority of actual rainfall, I think that treatment on main roads should hold up for the most part. It's the issue when we have rainfall switching over to freezing rain, which will wash away any treatment. But either way, coming up in a few minutes, we'll explain the highest impact locations of this ice this evening, as well as a warm-up on the way. A January thaw. Details straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Today marks 5 years since the death.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now is 6:11, and as you head outside today, here is a quick look at your forecast in a minute across the area. First off, let's dive into the current temperature outside right now, sitting at 24 degrees, so not too bad temperature-wise out there. A slight southeast wind of 6 miles an hour brings that feels like down to 17 degrees. By the way, look at those sunrise and sunset times. 7:36 this morning, 4:44 for your sunsets. And a look at roadways, generally clear. Side roads will be slightly snow covered. Radar right now looking quiet, but as you can see to our southwest, there's that leading edge of that warm front. They'll bring in that potential for freezing rain, which will be arriving in the evening hours. In terms of travel today, morning and afternoon will be quiet, and no travel issues are expected. There will be some lingering wet snow early Wednesday morning, but besides that, then things will begin to quiet down as we head into Wednesday afternoon. Again, today looking pretty quiet. That freezing rain falls for parts of the area, rainfall for others, and wet snow for others too. We've got a mixed bag of weather. We're going to dive into who sees what and the timing and everything you need to know for that forecast in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Last week we were reporting record numbers for flu.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. On this Tuesday, we begin today on a quiet side, at least temporarily. We are tracking some more rain and freezing rain this evening, but mainly no snow in our area today. So, while we're on the topic of a lack of snowfall, let's talk about the stretch that we've been experiencing the past, I would say, 40 or so days. Shout out to Bill Cardis for this research yesterday. Only 2 days have been without snowfall since Thanksgiving. 38 out of 40 days. So you can kind of see for yourself exactly just how much snow we've had. We've had clipper systems, we've had lake effect, we've had everything in between. Just Mother Nature has not let up on us, at least for central New York. And we are expecting some breaks here, at least when it comes to snowfall later on this week. But again, today we are tracking this potential for this freezing rain to move in as we head into this evening. You can see here the leading edge of this front moving its way in from the west. This is all part of an area of low pressure. And notice here on this map, we got some pinks here. That's that freezing rain moving in. And reminder at what freezing rain is. You've got cold air present near the surface, which is what's taking place right now. Then you have a warm front move in. And in the atmosphere, it looks kind of like this. The warm air, because it's less dense, moves farther inland, or at least farther ahead than the warm air near the ground, kind of looking like this. And that cold air gets trapped near the surface, providing the opportunity for that raindrop to freeze on contact, like glaze on a donut. That can produce that ice accumulation in the Mohawk Valley due to what's called cold air damming. You can see it take place right here. The models we have right now have not been very good at modeling this because, again, you need the perfect conditions, temperature-wise, the winds, the rainfall, and that's just something that computer models have a tough time really doing. So we're playing on the cautious side. We've seen this play out before. So if you do live, for example, in the Mohawk Valley, in areas just north, there's that freezing rain potential. I'll show the map here in a second. But again, it will be switching over to all rain and then eventually over to wet snow by Wednesday morning before drying up Wednesday evening and remaining mostly quiet heading into Thursday. So in terms of ice potential, here's where our thoughts are. If you're in the dark pink area, freezing rain is likely, including the Mohawk Valley, freezing rain possible in the Adirondacks, and a lot less likely as you head south and west. So you head north and east of Utica, your opportunities of seeing freezing rain will increase. So your 7-day forecast, it's an alert day today. Well, we're not in alert mode right now because at least so far, the first half of the day today, it is quiet, no travel impacts until roughly 3 to 4 to 5 p.m. today, and that'll primarily be east and north of Utica. Then we'll quiet down tomorrow evening, a bit of a dry period, then more rain arrives on Friday.
Got to be one of the most active winters we've seen here.
I'm telling you, Gary, it keeps us on our toes, and I know a lot of you are definitely noticing that as well.
Yeah, very busy in the Weather Center. Eric, thanks. Well, the Celtic Harp, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. After several days of snow, this morning a nice reprieve, but Eric, you say you're keeping your eye on tonight, right?
Yeah, that's right. And tonight, mainly not for snow either way, too. We got some freezing rain potential, Gary. In fact, we'll dive into that here shortly. For now, you're heading outside this morning. Well, it's pretty quiet out there. Cloudy skies, temperatures in the 20s, and some spots pushing near 30. But more or less, that's probably about as warm as we're going to get today, the low 30s. Downtown Utica, a live view outside, roadways looking generally clear out there. Again, side roads will be slightly snow covered, so budget a little bit extra time for that. But once you hit the main roads, you're pretty much all set. So no additional snowfall impacting travel today, but it's a different story when it comes to ice and this evening. So freezing rain begins to arrive this evening. The highest impact zones will be north and east of Utica, in the Mohawk Valley and in the foothills of the Adirondacks. And on top of that, what will the impacts be? Well, there could be some slick spots, mainly on untreated surfaces, parking lots, sidewalks, driveways, and some outlying roads that might not have enough treatment on them. Either way, this would be an icy scenario. So just a heads up as we head into tonight. And so again, coming up in a few minutes, we're going to dive into the impacts when it comes to that ice, how it forms, and what follows that, the time frame, everything you need to know for this evening's ice coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. The Trump administration...
Storm Tracker 2 team, where we track storms. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Our photo of the day today we're bringing to you every morning, brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union, is a great shot here of a winter wonderland. Now, this was titled by a submitter, Jody, Gateway to Narnia, with an amazing shot here of the dark blue hue of the wintry scene and the contrast of a very nice positioned lamp there. So a great shot of a beautiful winter scene in Brookfield. Shout out to those of you watching from Brookfield this morning. If you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us, showcasing the beauty in your area, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Amazing photo right there, Jody. And of course, photos every day brought to you by GPRO Federal Credit Union. So today, we're still starting out in the 20s, in the teens in some spots. However, that's less likely. But either way, it is going to be a dry start with freezing rain this afternoon. The details on that coming up shortly. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Comets fans, get ready to talk.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Time now is 6:50 on this Tuesday morning, and we begin on the quiet side. No snowfall to track this morning or for much of the day today. In fact, barely any snow, if any, will be throughout the entire 24-hour stretch so far today. But as we head into tonight, maybe a little bit of a different story. Either way, I want to recap just how snowy this stretch of weather has been. This is a shout out to Bill for at least bringing up the data here on this. Only 2 days so far in the last 40 have been without snowfall. So if you have been wondering just how snowy has it been, well, this is your answer here. The answer: incredibly snowy. We've had onslaughts of clipper systems, lake effect, and you name it. Any way that Mother Nature can bring us at least an ounce of snow, sure enough, that's the case. Radar right now, though, is dry. Our signal to the west picking up on an approaching warm front, and this is going to be producing the potential for some freezing rain tonight. As you can see here, the bigger picture shows an area of low pressure dragging in some slightly warmer temperatures, but it's going to be colliding with colder air present near the ground. And as a recap of how freezing rain works, basically take what I just showed you right here and just turn it somewhat vertically so you can see that there's cold air currently present, and then that warm front moves in, and there's that very narrow sliver of freezing conditions near the ground, so that rain will fall, freeze on contact, producing freezing rain. These are incredibly difficult scenarios to forecast, to the point where atmospheric models like what we see here, it's showing it, but they do so very reluctantly. It's a very difficult thing for computer data to simulate. Some apps on your phone, same story. You might say it's going to be raining at 5 or 6, but doesn't quite paint the full picture of what's going to be happening. So this is a snapshot of around 4 o'clock this evening, right when that rain and freezing rain moves in. And that pink area is where that freezing rain takes place. Eventually it will erode into all rain, and then finally back over to wet snow by early Wednesday morning. Then Wednesday, it slowly begins to dry up here and there. But when it comes to freezing rain potential, this is our thoughts. We have freezing rain likely in the Mohawk Valley and the foothills of the Adirondacks here, and including pretty much a lot of the Adirondack Park and some hills south of the thruway there. That's where the highest risk for freezing rain can be due to cold air damming. Basically, that cold air gets trapped in the Mohawk Valley. It can't escape, and that's when that rain will freeze on contact. So because of that potential, tomorrow is or at least tonight through early this evening, is a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. And then following that, it's going to be drying up by Wednesday afternoon through Thursday, then rain showers on Friday. So again, just a heads up, travel concerns possibly as we head into this evening around 4 o'clock.
Definitely keep an eye on that.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. Well, soon the Utica Fire Department will have another resource to fight fires. This is the new Engine 1. It's been in the works for now, and Eric, at least decent conditions out there for those 2 big stories this morning.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, right now we're tracking some snow on the radar, but a lot of that's not reaching the ground just yet. In fact, let's take a look at the radar at this hour. This is called Virga. Basically, it is any type of rain, sleet, or snow in the atmosphere that's falling way above us in the sky, but it's not reaching the ground. Now, what this is doing not necessarily producing anything with direct impacts, but indirectly, it is going to start cooling down the atmosphere. When these snowflakes, flurries, raindrops evaporate, the action of it evaporating cools down the atmosphere. Now you can see here, we're still slightly below freezing in Rome. We're at 28 degrees in Johnstown, 32 Hamilton. So as we've mentioned, the risk of freezing rain is not that high in areas south and west of Utica. The more north and east you go, especially in the Mohawk Valley, that's where our thoughts are in terms of the risk for freezing rain today. So again, we take a look outside right now. Again, nothing really taking place for the most part here at this hour. Relatively quiet. But again, we will be in alert mode this evening through tonight with that risk of that freezing rain. So more importantly, you got to watch out for some slick spots on untreated surfaces, as once that freezing rain hits the ground, it does what's in the name of it. It freezes on contact, causing some icy spots. So again, coming up in a couple minutes, we have that ice forecast, the highest impact zones, and a detailed timeline of how the rest of the day shapes up. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Check this out right here. The New York State Department of Transportation posted a reminder. New York State Department of Transportation posted a reminder to drivers to not crowd or pass snowplows. The video shows a driver passing an active snowplow on a solid yellow line and nearly causing a head-on collision with an oncoming vehicle last week in Franklin County. According to officials, the decision by the driver put their own life, their passengers' lives, the lives of other drivers, and the life of the plow operator all at serious risk. They say passing a plow means driving into untreated pavement, reduced visibility, and unpredictable conditions. Officials urge drivers to make better choices, slow down, and let plows do their job safely. A school bus driver.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are continuing to follow the arrival of, at least in some spots in our area, some freezing rain. Well, let's take a look at the Yorkville Battery Live radar, because for right now what we're looking at here is elevated moisture or just elevated snow showers. These are not hitting the ground right now. These are way up in the sky, as typical with warm fronts. This is all moving its way up. Eventually, as the warm front draws nearer, a lot of this will eventually start reaching the ground as, one, the air becomes more saturated, and two, the rain, or in this case, freezing rain rates, will become a bit heavier. So we zoom out a little bit, and there is that leading edge of that warm sector here in the upper atmosphere. And this is one of those scenarios where we look at the maps here and you can see a variety of different colors. And you kind of take these colors with a grain of salt, at least for the initial part of the system here, because these are several different radars looking way up into the sky, pinpointing where it's rain, where it's sleet, where it's snow. And it gets a bit finicky here in terms of exactly where it is. But once we get a bit more in terms of stronger rainfall rates, or at least sleet rates to our south and west, we can use other tools in the radar to determine where that mixing line is. So we look at the bigger picture here, and there's that warm front surging its way north and east. Notice here we have some of those pinks working its way in. And a reminder, as I mentioned, with warm fronts, they move in gently over currently cold air. They don't barrel through like cold fronts, which produce severe weather. In this case, as you can see here, freezing rain is we have that very narrow portion of cold air stuck near the surface. And there's a couple ways this can happen. You have a warm front moving in a very cold air mass, and that cold air would always want to move. Or you get physical limitations. In this case, you get the Mohawk Valley, which is a natural barrier. You have, of course, the hills south of the Mohawk Valley, preventing that cold air from working in, providing the potential for freezing rain to form, mainly the Herkimer area and then north and east, including Little Falls, and of course heading up north into central Herkimer County and into Hamilton County. Now, this freezing rain, or at least the colder air, will erode throughout the overnight, switching over to rain before we're back over to wet snow showers throughout the morning, heading into Wednesday. But in the meantime, again, when it comes to the ice potential today, our main focus will be in the Mohawk Valley. These dark pink areas right here is where the highest potential for freezing rain is possible. A bit less, though, as you head up north into the Adirondacks, but nonetheless, there is still a chance there. Rain, though, will be likely in a lot of these spots here south and west of Utica. So your 7-day forecast, we are tracking some warmer temperatures. Now, of course, early tomorrow it will be right around freezing, so there'll be some wet snow falling in a lot of spots here, maybe some sleety snow mixing in. We will be drying out, though, Wednesday night through Thursday, and you get a bit of a reprieve here in terms of snowfall. We are, yes, seeing rain, but again, the key here is no snow, breaking our stretch of a very long stretch of snowy conditions, and coming up a bit later, we'll talk about just how long that snowy stretch is. So quite a while, but again, keep a heads up for this evening.
That's for sure. Eric, thanks. Well, coming up, if you are having financial issues, as we Gage joining us now, and Eric, as you've been mentioning, keeping an eye out for this evening.
Yeah, that's right. We're tracking some ice potential, especially in the Mohawk Valley, and for the first time in quite a while, we're not mentioning really snowfall as a concern here. Let's talk about that snowy stretch, and a shout out to, again, Bill Cardis for researching this yesterday. Since Thanksgiving, last 40 days, only 2 of them have been without any snowfall and impacting parts of our area. So I think this season, I think the reason why a lot of people might be a bit sick of the snow, it's been relentless. We haven't really had any true breaks. We've had clipper systems, we've had lake effect, we've had coastal systems, and then just surprise snow that overperformed, catching us by surprise a couple of times here. But either way, it's kept us on our toes. It's kept a lot of area road crews and a lot of you having plans on your toes as well. And so it's one of those things where I think a lot of us just kind of want a bit of a break. And we're going to see that later this week, but we got to get through tonight here. Now, as you can see, the radar is picking up on what's called virga. Basically, you got some snow falling in the upper atmosphere. It's evaporating before it hits the ground. But in the process of that, it's also cooling down the atmosphere. So you can see here, 31 in Rome. Our concern spot is going to be here in the Mohawk Valley. It's still 27 degrees in Johnstown. We're going to keep a very close eye in this section of the area, because if that cold air damming takes place, that warm air can't move in time. By the way, the warm air being in the 40s and 30s down south and west, to allow us to see that rain. And when you don't have that warm up fast enough, you get freezing rain. So again, downtown Utica, a live view outside right now. It's generally quiet across the region. And a reminder again, this evening, if you're traveling primarily northeast and east of Utica, that's where a lot of those trouble spots will occur, mainly on untreated surfaces. I don't think this will be as intense as the ice storm we saw previously, but still, this could provide some impacts here, and we're going to dive into that regarding, again, most troublesome locations here, as well as the exact timing coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Police in Ohio have released a video.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are closely monitoring the arrival of some freezing rain that can move in as we head into the evening hours today. A live look at the radar, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we are still tracking some of that virga in the atmosphere, or snow that's evaporating before it reaches the ground. We zoom out here. Where is there freezing rain officially taking place? Well, we got to look down into Pennsylvania. We head in some of those mountain areas down there too. That dark pink, you might be able to see it where my hand is pointing right there. That's where officially freezing rain is taking place. We can see it by looking at a few things. I want to see if I can spot it here if the right radar pops up. Looks like it's not, but maybe I can move it with my map here. Let's go down. Yes, here we are. See that lighter orange and yellow? That's freezing rain. That's sleet taking place. So there's mixing. There's basically a wintry mix, or at least freezing rain taking place in that area. Either way, we're closely watching these temperatures, especially in the Mohawk Valley. And you see here, Lake Pleasant 29, Dolgeville 29, Little Falls 27. Now, as you head out to the west, it's going to warm up a little bit right around the freezing point. There could still be freezing rain, but I really think this trouble spot is going to be as you head down into the valley where those winds will be very difficult to really erode that cold air currently present. Now, as you head farther south, you see Morris, Oneonta, Unadilla already above freezing. Not really expecting any big ice concerns down there. So what we're seeing here is a surge of warm air colliding with currently present cold air, and that's the recipe for a freezing rain event. This is not one of those events where it's very concerning, but the concern is there. Now, data doesn't like to help us a whole lot when it comes to these events because everything is all going down to the fraction of a degree in terms of accuracy. But basically what's happening, you have all that warm air moving its way in, a very narrow sliver of cold air near the ground, and when that rain falls, it freezes on contact with the surface, kind of like glaze on a donut. So what we're seeing here is that system moving its way in. See all those pinks here, mainly in the Mohawk Valley, where those temperatures really struggle to get above freezing. Look at that. At 4 p.m. today, we're at 33 in Little Falls. Hovering around that point, it's very difficult for that to switch over to rain. If anything, it's going to be a wintry mix or freezing rain. Then as we head into the overnight hours, it turns over to all rain. We have some wet snow in the Adirondacks. By 6 a.m., that cold front moves through it, switches back over to wet snow. Still might have some travel impacts in the hills, but I really think a lot of the wet roads will keep a lot of that snow clearing from any major impacts. But either way, here's a look at our map here. In terms of the highest impact zones, you head to the east of Utica toward Little Falls and mainly the Mohawk Valley. That's where that freezing rain is most likely due to cold air damming. Heading up north, for obvious reasons, higher elevations. And then as you head farther to the west and south, the freezing rain potential will continue to decrease. So again, we will be in alert mode this evening through tonight for that freezing rain potential, and watch out for some slick spots and make sure you're tuned into the latest forecast from us for the latest information on that too. Following that, we're looking at a bit of a warm-up, a January thaw, which starts kind of today. We're back into the 40s by Friday and Saturday with widespread rain. Gary?
Eric, thank you. We are back with News Talk. Our guest this noon is
Kristen Copeland and Jason Palace.
Get to all those stories in a minute. First, though, some organizations in our viewing area have already canceled events for tonight in anticipation of freezing rain.
Where, when, how much? Well, for the answers, where do we go? Straight to Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardas, and we are in alert mode.
Yeah, we don't mess around with freezing rain. This is a very localized concern. Basically, east of Utica, Little Falls, St. Johnsville, into the Mohawk Valley. Some freezing rain is expected to develop shortly, if it hasn't already, as temperatures are below freezing. If you're in Utica west and south, it is mostly going to be a cold rain. So this is not going to equally affect all of central New York. In spots that do see freezing rain, even here, the accumulation looks to be less than what we dealt with on that Sunday between Christmas and New Year's. It will not be a severe accumulation. It should be relatively light. But even a small amount of this does create problems. 33 degrees at Griffiths and Rome, above freezing at Rome, and that's very important. Temperatures, as long as they're from 32 and above, it will be primarily rain. But again, there will be some pockets of ice tonight, especially east of Utica. As we look ahead, the weather stays on the mild side. We're expecting an extended January thaw to continue and really ramp up here as we head into the week. Rain and ice tonight, temperatures hovering around freezing. We're tracking when this comes to an end and the warmer temperatures to follow. We'll look at the forecasts coming up. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you.
A mother and 4 children escaped a fire in Ansville this morning.
Yeah, the front porch of the mobile home caught fire just about 8 o'clock this morning. Our crew on scene could smell
KTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We're tracking widespread precipitation. A lot of this is falling as a cold rain, but pockets east of Utica are seeing some ice as temperatures are below freezing in parts of the Mohawk Valley. This is a live look in downtown Utica. You can see the camera is wet. Temperatures are very close to freezing this evening, and that's why the radar has so many different colors on it. What we're generally seeing is a mix of rain and freezing rain, especially east of Utica. Some of these pockets near Little Falls, St. Johnsville, are still below freezing. So when that rain is falling, it is freezing on untreated surfaces. Now, I think most of the main roads are going to be fine traveling-wise, but you've got to watch out on sidewalks, driveways, parking lots. A few slippery spots are in the cards this evening, again, for parts of our area. Heading into the Adirondacks, this actually is falling as some snow. But even here it is expected to turn over to rain as we head into tonight. All of this precipitation is part of a warm front moving in from the south. And it may not feel warm, but it does look to climb above freezing here over the next couple of days. Reminder, you can always get weather information on the go. You can download our Stern Tracker 2 weather app. Travel impacts, it will stay pretty wet tonight. The rain will continue, and again, watch out for some icy spots east of Utica. Rain switches over to snow showers, but these look relatively light as we head into Wednesday morning and afternoon. We do get a chance to dry out later in the day. Very cloudy stretch of weather in the past couple of weeks, and it looks like it's going to continue here as we head into the next 7 days. Although we do have a couple of chances for sunshine later this week. They look fairly limited, though we are just in that cloudy time of the year. Dolgeville, 32 degrees, Little Falls, 31, Deansboro, 30, West Berlin, 32, across Southern Valleys, 30 in Cooperstown, Oneonta, 34, Norwich with 36 degrees. Low pressure swings in from the west, again bringing a widespread rain tonight. Temperatures will gradually rise overnight. We'll climb from the low 30s to the mid 30s by tomorrow morning. Rain switches back over to snow as low pressure moves through. The wind direction changes, and that brings in some slightly cooler air aloft. Little snow accumulation is expected tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be right around freezing, so the roads are mainly wet. Cloudy skies tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. The clouds are going to remain very stubborn as we get into tomorrow night as well as Thursday. Thursday, 8 a.m., temperatures in the low 30s. We do climb above freezing Thursday afternoon. We might get a few breaks of sunshine late in the day with high temperatures in the mid-30s. Tonight, rain, temperatures in the low 30s. Tomorrow, rain turns over to snow showers. Little accumulation is expected. Temperatures climb above freezing, highs in the mid-30s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast, 38 degrees on Thursday. Cloudy skies, maybe a little bit of sunshine late in the day. We've got some warm weather Friday and Saturday. Those are the days to watch for a pretty significant thaw. We stay above freezing Friday night, so the snow will melt for about 24 hours. Start to cool down a little bit heading into the weekend. Temperatures in the 30s here Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to check in on the season snowfall total so far for Utica.
All right, Bill. Before it all melts away.
Before it all melts away.
Quick.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Eastbound lanes are too much to watch for.
It's a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. Let's watch Bill.
Yeah, we're talking about freezing rain in parts of the Mohawk Valley this evening. Before we get there, though, let's talk about snowfall. We actually didn't pick up any snow today, which has been unusual because it's been very snowy since Thanksgiving here in upstate New York. Our current total for the city, 67.8 inches, a departure of over 30 inches. But over the next couple of days, probably the next week to week and a half, I think we'll be running behind on snowfall as we get warmer temperatures, warm being relative. We are tracking pockets of freezing rain. Be careful on untreated surfaces, especially east of Utica. Temperatures are below freezing and it's raining, which means that rain is going to freeze on untreated surfaces. That will be the case for the next several hours. From areas south and west of Utica, it's rain. It's cold rain, but we're not expecting any travel issues in areas like Madison, Chenango County. Temperatures are going to be warmer than freezing. We'll be above freezing over the next few days. In fact, we get into the mid-40s here by Friday, so a thaw, an extended thaw, is in the cards here later this week. If you are taking the dog out for a walk this evening, just watch out, watch your footing. Again, a couple of icy spots with temperatures right around freezing. Tonight's featured dogs Teddy and Winnie from Yorkville. If you want to be part of this, head to Scottcast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Back over to you.
Bill, thank you. Flu-like illnesses are running rampant through most.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We continue to track some freezing rain in parts of central New York, combined with rain in many other areas. Like Oneonta, temperatures are above freezing, and we're seeing a cold rain. Everything has to do with surface temperatures this evening. If you're seeing a temperature 32 degrees or lower, it is likely falling as freezing rain. That's rain that freezes on contact with the surface. Temperatures are 33 degrees or higher. This is entirely rain and a cold rain. And right now, just based on looking at weather stations, the Mohawk Valley east of Utica, temperatures are still below freezing. Pockets of freezing rain in parts of the Mohawk Valley, Lake Little Falls, Herkimer, St. Johnsville, even into the Adirondacks, temperatures are still below freezing. But the general idea is, as we head into tonight, warmer air works in from the south, and we'll see a changeover to all rain across central New York. And we expect temperatures to remain above freezing over the next several days. An extended January thaw, an early January thaw, is in the cards. The wind picks up a bit tomorrow, light winds Thursday. The wind becomes very noticeable here as we head into Friday and Saturday. We get into a windy weather pattern heading into the end of the week. Low pressure continues to swing in from the west. Again, this is a warm front bringing that wintry mix to central New York. As this rolls through, again, temperatures will climb above freezing tonight. Any pockets of ice will turn over to rain overnight. So tomorrow morning, I'm not expecting any big problems with the morning commute. As colder air swings through on the backside of this weather system, we do see it change over to snow, but temperatures at the surface will be near or above freezing, so the snow will have a hard time sticking, and it doesn't cause any big travel issues. It's cloudy throughout Wednesday. Little snow accumulation is expected. Temperatures will hover around or above freezing. Tomorrow night, cloudy skies. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s to low 30s. On Thursday, it's dry. It's generally cloudy. We may see a few breaks of sunshine late Thursday. Temperatures Thursday afternoon look to climb above freezing. Highs in the mid to upper 30s. Tonight, cloudy skies. Rain continues. Again, watch out for some icy spots east of Utica. There will be some lingering pockets of freezing rain for the next several hours, but after midnight, this is all over to plain rain across all of central New York. Tomorrow, we climb above freezing. Rain turns over to snow showers in the morning. Little accumulation is expected. The snow comes to an end by midday, and we're looking at temperatures in the upper 30s. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The weather remains relatively mild, which is something we haven't seen much of throughout this winter season so far. We're 38 on Thursday, clouds, maybe a few breaks of sunshine late. Temperatures will remain above freezing even at night beginning Thursday night. Friday, cloudy skies, 46 with rain developing in the afternoon. Rain continues Friday night into early Saturday, an early high of 42. It's colder Sunday, rain and snow showers 34. We're into the mid to upper 30s as we look ahead to Monday and Tuesday. We'll be right back.
The news with Kristen Copeland and Jason Pallas.
Here it comes. Freezing rain is in the forecast, and that could lead to icy roads. Be careful on your commute.
Yeah, it's a News Channel 2 alert day. Chief Meteorologist Bill Carter is tracking it all from the Weather Center for us tonight.
Yeah, we're particularly concerned about areas east of Utica. There's some cold air that's trapped at the surface in the Mohawk Valley, and it's creating a few slippery spots tonight. Let's take a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Little Falls, St. Johnsville, Herkimer, Frankfort, these lower spots east of Utica where temperatures are 32 degrees or less are seeing rain that's freezing on contact on untreated surfaces. Most of us are seeing a plain rain, but again, you just want to be careful, exercise caution if you're heading out this evening. It is 33 degrees at Griffis and Rome, so Rome is seeing rain and no concerns here, but again, some pockets of freezing rain continue tonight. We're expecting warmer weather to win the battle here this week, and temperatures will be above freezing for the most part. In fact, we're going to warm up quite a bit as we head later into the week. An extended January thaw is ahead. Rain looks to return heading into Friday. Temperatures right around freezing this evening with a mix of rain and freezing rain. We are tracking this big warm up ahead. I've got to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. A massive tractor trailer.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. I'm tracking freezing rain and rain moving through central New York, especially east of Utica. That's the most likely spot where we will have some ice accumulation. It's live look in downtown Utica. It's Generally rain from areas from Utica west and south. Temperatures are very close to freezing in many areas, but it is below freezing in the Mohawk Valley, Little Falls, Herkimer, St. Johnsville, Frankfort. These spots are looking at temperatures around 32 degrees or less, and so that rain is freezing on untreated surfaces. Be careful if you're heading out. I think most of the main roads are fine. They've been well treated. It's the side roads, driveways, sidewalks, parking lots that are going to be a concern over the next couple of hours. Going north, some of this is falling as some wet snow, but even here, this will generally turn over to rain as warmer temperatures roll in as we head into the course of tonight. So the freezing rain risk is over the next few hours. As we approach, say, 9, 10 o'clock, most of this will be over to a cold rain, and that rain will continue into tonight. Reminder, you can always get weather information on the go by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Travel impacts tonight, a mix between rain and ice, especially over the next few hours. By tomorrow morning, this does switch over to snow showers, but it looks to be relatively light, little accumulation. By the time we head into Wednesday afternoon and evening, these snow showers generally come to an end. For the city of Utica, 67.8 inches of snow has been measured so far this season. We are running a 30-inch surplus compared to where we are today, compared to average. As we look at the bigger picture, low pressure works in from the west. This is bringing a warm front. Even though it's pretty cold out there, it is going to be above freezing over the next couple of days as this weather system rolls through. Tonight, we'll see a changeover to rain region-wide. Temperatures will slowly rise. Rain turns over to snow showers tomorrow morning as colder air turns in from the west. Slightly colder weather. We're not expecting much of a snow accumulation tomorrow as temperatures will be near or above freezing at the surface, so the roads will remain generally wet. It remains cloudy tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Tomorrow night, the weather remains dry, and it's looking dry on Thursday. Warmer weather slowly works in from the south. Temperatures on Thursday look to climb into the mid to upper 30s, and we might see a few breaks of sunshine before the day is done. Rain tonight, a low of 32. Rain switches over to snow showers tomorrow morning. Little accumulation is expected, a high of 37. Storm Tracker 2's 7-day forecast, an extended thaw is expected as we head into the end of the week. Cloudy skies on Thursday, 38. Friday, we're up to 46, widespread rain. Rain continues Friday night into early Saturday. Temperatures will remain above freezing, so I think we do lose a substantial amount of snow. Will it be all of it? Depends on where you live. Unlikely in the higher elevations, but we do get back into the 30s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
This is one of those days where I'm warned my car needs to be started multiple times before I leave the building.
There you go.
Maybe now I'm passing that advice on to you.
Multiple
Careful out
times.
there.
All right, still to come on News Channel 2 at 6. Look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. So that freezing rain that hit the area, it hit us on Smith Hill, didn't it?
Yeah, we didn't escape it here. Getting some ice on Smith Hill, didn't have to go very far to take this picture right from the parking lot. And just be careful if you're heading out. Some icy spots from Utica and points east. We've been seeing some pockets of freezing rain even into northern Otsego County tonight, too. So keep an eye on temperatures here. If it's below 32 degrees, it's likely icy on untreated surfaces. The general idea is temperatures will slowly warm up tonight, but it is going to be a process. We're still tracking widespread rain and freezing rain, even some snow across the northern half of our area, too. Again, a few slippery spots will continue into tonight. Griffis and Rome is not seeing the icing issues. It's 34 degrees with rain. Parts of Oneida County, again, just dealing with that cold rain tonight. Rain to snow showers tomorrow morning. Looking at a warm stretch of weather here, warm for January. It looks like we're going to be seeing temperatures above freezing just about every day going forward. Rain tonight, temperatures in the low 30s. I'm tracking how long this weather pattern continues when we get a chance to dry out too. Look at the forecasts coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, the Department of Justice has
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We are taking a live look in downtown Utica. It has been a pretty dreary night. We've been getting rain and freezing rain, some slippery spots, especially east of Utica, where cold air remains trapped near the lower elevations of the valleys. Temperatures, if they're below 32 degrees, you're seeing some of that rain still freeze on untreated surfaces. Looks like that freezing rain line is cutting right across Utica and points west. You've been seeing rain for most of the evening, but again, it's these problem spots from areas east and north of Utica that remain near or below freezing tonight, and we'll continue to have some icing issues here overnight. You can see surface temperatures: Inlet 32, Long Lake 32, Dolgeville, Little Falls 33. Across Southern Valleys, this extends into pockets of Otsego County, Cooperstown 32. But for the most part, as you head south, temperatures are above freezing, and it's a cold rain for the majority of central New York. And temperatures are going to warm up tomorrow for the morning commute. So I think just about everybody will be seeing much better driving conditions, and hopefully the ice isn't a big deal, and a lot of that is melted by the time you head out for work or school tomorrow. Reminder, you can always get weather information on the go by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Very helpful to have the radar handy on nights like tonight. Your travel impacts overnight: again, rain and ice. Snow showers are expected tomorrow morning. These are not expected to be a big deal. Looks like those snow showers will amount to very, very little. And with temperatures above freezing, a lot of the snow will be melting on the roads. Very cloudy conditions. It has been a long stretch of time since we've seen any appreciable sun. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing any opportunities in the future here, at least the near future. Low pressure continues to swing in from the west, again bringing us this wintry mess tonight. This turns over to rain. Temperatures will slowly warm up overnight. Rain switches back to snow as low pressure swings through. It changes the wind direction, and it brings in colder air aloft. Snow doesn't have a problem sticking, or I should say snow generally doesn't stick, and very little is expected to accumulate. Temperatures will be in the low 30s heading into tomorrow afternoon. Cloudy skies tomorrow night. Thursday, temperatures warm up. We'll climb above freezing. We might get a few breaks of sunshine late in the day, but the bigger story is temperatures in the upper 30s. We're going to start to see a snow melt, which is going to accelerate as we head later into this week. Tonight, rain, a low of 32. Tomorrow, snow showers in the morning, 37. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cloudy Thursday, 38. Friday and Saturday, those are the days where we should have a significant snow melt. We're in the 40s during the day, but we're also in the upper 30s at night. Snow showers return Sunday, dry weather Monday and Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Do you suffer and
Let's look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. We told everybody earlier today, watch out for the ice that was coming our way.
Yeah.
Freezing rain, and it hit us right here on Smith Hill.
Yeah, I didn't have to go very far for this picture. This was earlier this evening. Freezing rain, coating the cars, slippery to walk outside, especially from Utica and points east. It's going to take a little while for this ice to melt, so be careful if you're heading out tonight. I think by tomorrow morning we'll stay above freezing long enough for a lot of this ice to melt, but not all of it. So just keep that in mind when you're heading out first thing in the morning, especially on untreated surfaces. A live look at the Airfield Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Precipitation continues to move through central New York. Again, pockets of freezing rain, although most of this is falling as a cold rain here across central New York. Some snow still in the Adirondacks. 34 degrees, rain at Griffis and Rome. Our weather headlines: ice turns over to rain tonight. Rain turns back to snow showers tomorrow morning. No problems with the morning commute. The weather warms up. We're expecting a significant and prolonged January thaw to take place later this week. Rain tonight, temperatures will be in the low to mid 30s. We're tracking how warm it gets later this week. A look at the forecast coming up. Jay's back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, the Department of Justice has released more information.
Download the Storm Tracker 2 mobile app and put the power of Storm Tracker 2 in the palm of your hand. Watch the latest forecast, hour-by-hour conditions, the latest radar this winter. Be prepared. Download the Storm Tracker 2 mobile app today. The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are tracking a cold, damp evening across central New York, and this wet weather is going to continue through the morning. The good news is that the freezing rain component of this is getting more limited as time goes on, as warmer air slowly works in. But we are still tracking pockets of freezing rain, especially across the eastern Mohawk Valley from Little Falls eastward. There's some icy spots, especially untreated surfaces. That will continue for the next couple of hours. By tomorrow morning, I think a lot of places are above freezing. And again, I think your morning commute will be in much better shape compared to what was going on out there in spots this evening. But you can see temperatures are still pretty close to freezing. Dolgeville 32, Little Falls 33, Inlet 32, across Southern Valleys, Cooperstown 32, Oneonta 34. But it's several degrees above freezing in some of the hilltops in Chenango and Madison County. A reminder, you can always get weather information on the go. Easy way to track conditions, the radar, by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Travel impacts remain relatively high tonight with widespread rain and pockets of ice. By tomorrow morning, rain and ice turn over to snow showers, and the snow showers don't cause much of a problem as temperatures remain above freezing for most of the day. Lots of cloud cover. We're in this very gloomy pattern. I know we've been talking a lot about snow and travel conditions, but behind all of that has just been this very persistent gloomy weather pattern that's going to continue for the next several days. We are in the cloudiest time of the year, but it's a little bit worse than usual. So you look at the bigger picture, low pressure continues to work in from the west. This is going to bring us our January thaw. It's going to be the first step in getting some of that warmer weather into central New York. Tonight, rain showers, overnight lows in the low 30s. Tomorrow, rain showers turn over to snow showers. Slightly colder weather aloft makes this changeover, but temperatures are still above freezing at the surface, so not expecting much of a snow accumulation or very much of an impact for that matter, with roads mainly wet throughout the day. Tomorrow afternoon, we do get a chance to dry out. It's cloudy tomorrow night, and it's cloudy for most of Thursday. It looks warmer Thursday afternoon. Temperatures climb into the mid to upper 30s. We might get a few breaks of sunshine late in the day. That is a possibility, although it's a relatively small chance. Rain tonight, low of 32. Tomorrow, rain showers turn over to snow showers in the morning. Little accumulation, high of 37. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cloudy Thursday, 38. Rain returns late Friday night, and into early Saturday, and it looks like a pretty significant thaw here with temperatures well into the 40s. We're also well above freezing Friday night. An overnight low of only 38. That will do a number to the snowpack too. We finally fall below freezing. It looks like Sunday evening, and we're climbing into the 30s again looking ahead to Monday and Tuesday. We'll be right back.